So,
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned van because that's exactly what had happened
oh
last
my
year.
gosh, yeah. All right,
Yeah,
can you
so
walk us through it? I mean, I don't
yeah,
want to expose your whole life, but like, walk us through
no,
that.
it's fine. So it's funny because I had pulled over to a Bucky's, and if you're from Texas, you're familiar with Bucky's, and Bucky's, you don't really expect anything like bad to happen because I don't know, I guess I don't know, it's a very like I guess family oriented
Right.
place. So, you don't, I guess you kind of like put your guard down. But anyway, so I was there, I had pulled up and I got into my parking space and I looked at my rear view mirror and I saw a van parked like maybe like two parking spaces behind me. Uh, um, Distance wise, it was an actual parking spot. And they were just standing idle there, not going anywhere. I thought, oh, maybe they're waiting on a pump to free up or a parking spot. But there was a parking spot, a couple spots next to me, and then there were several pumps that were open. So I thought, well, why are they still kind of sticking around? They're not making a choice. Um, I'm just gonna stay in my car. And I stayed in my car for like like an absurd amount of time. I was just like, oh, okay. And well, maybe it wasn't that long. Maybe it just felt like it was a lot longer than it really was. But I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna play it safe. I'm gonna stay in my car. And then they ended up leaving and like they made ended up turning. And so I was like, oh, maybe they just, figured out, oh, we're just gonna pump gas or whatever. So I was like, all right, well, um, so I figured, okay, I'm gonna go inside, get whatever I need to get, take care of business. And when I went inside, I was trying to look for the van and to see if it was at one of the pumping stations and I couldn't see it. And I looked at the parking spots, it wasn't there, and I was just like, okay, that's bizarre. Like where it just magically disappeared. I'm like, no, it's gotta be somewhere. So I ended up looking at the street level, and I ended up seeing it. It was actually already at the stoplight trying to make a turn on the highway, and I'm like, okay, well that's weird. Why did they pull up in here? They were standing idle forever. I didn't get out of my car, and then they eventually completely left the entire Bucky's parking lot. That's kind of weird. Maybe I don't know. Maybe change the plans, right? So I was like, okay, well that was weird. So I ended up, um, you know, getting my stuff. I checked out, and then I was walking to my car, and this was a different vehicle. I was as I was walking to my car, I noticed there was a separate vehicle parked directly next to me, with a driver and a passenger. And then in front of my vehicle specifically, there was a person right in front of my vehicle, and then there was another guy on the driver's side. And I saw them, and I made eye contact with them, and I'm like, oh, this is really weird. I'm gonna take a step back, and I like walk back inside of the Bucky's, and so I was kind of like game planning, like, what am I gonna do next? I can't just go to my car, but I need to leave, but I don't feel safe. So I actually waited for one of the cashiers to free up. I went up to this gentleman and I said, hey, I kind of briefly explained to him the situation. I said, I don't really feel comfortable walking to my vehicle by myself. If you don't mind, could you please walk me to my vehicle? And he's like, yeah, sure, not a problem. So he kindly walked out with me. And so whenever I walked towards my vehicle, like we all made eye contact. They made eye contact with me, and then they looked at the guy and they're like, okay. And then they stepped away. And I'm like, how do you know that one is my car if you didn't see me already pull in because they weren't there before? I'm like, okay, well that's really weird. So anyway, I get in my car and the Bucky's cashier, watches the entire situation, the entire scenario where he makes sure that I'm in my car. And then once I am in my car, then he walks away. And I didn't realize it at the moment at before, but there was an extra guy there, um, right on the passenger right next to my passenger door, standing there. But obviously at that point I already had all my doors locked and everything. So I was just like, wow, it wasn't just four guys, there were five guys surrounding my vehicle. well, technically 3 guys surrounding my vehicle, and then the 2 guys in the vehicle next to me. So I was just like, all right, I'm getting out of here. I drove out, and I actually went into I went to a police station, and unfortunately it was closed. So that whatever that's another story. But so I went in there, and I wanted to be in a place where if something were to happen, at least you know I'm assuming they would probably also have cameras in the parking lot, right? So so I went in there and I checked if there were like any like tags. What do you call those? Like the air tags. So I was like trying to
Yeah.
look for something like that, something of that nature. I didn't see anything, so I was like, okay, I think I'm okay. But yeah, there was a really sketchy situation because there were 2 separate vehicles involved. If you count the van in the beginning, and the second, it was like like an SUV. Um, with the 5 man, because they looked like they were all part of like the same group, and I'm just like, yeah, that was, I feel like that could have like highly been, had a really high potential of being something, so
Yeah.
um
An
just got out
unusually
of
high
it. And
potential.
because, yeah, and because of the actions that I took, I didn't even have to address them,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It,
So
seriously. And I love what Siege Talk said. Women have to stop being concerned with being rude or hurting someone's feelings. Trust your gut, use your voice, stay safe.
mhm.
And honestly, that's one of the most powerful things that anyone has on them is their voice, their ability to literally get loud and let the whole world know that something crazy is happening and that whoever is bothering them is clearly some sort of threat. Um,
Yeah,
and
I've had to use my voice. There was another instance. It was at a medical center, like a medical plaza, and I had to use my voice just to make sure that people around my surrounding area knew that there was something going on. Um, nobody did anything, but at least like I wanted to make sure if something did happen, I would have eyewitnesses.
right, eyes on the situation because there's a lot of stuff that
Mhm.
happens. And truthfully, I didn't see it like I would have liked to see it just to kind of be helpful, but I did not see it truthfully.
Mhm.
So that's I'm glad that you're okay. I'm glad you got out of that situation
Mhm.
all right. Obviously, we don't know what was about to happen,
Yeah.
but use your brain, right?
Hmm.
Use your brain. Like there's no world where what was happening makes sense for it to be happening without ill intentions. And in even best case scenario, there was nothing there, nothing there, nothing
Right.
going on. Oh well. Somebody helped walk you to your car. He did his good deed for the day. I'm happy to
Mhm.
do it. Personally, happy to do it because there was actually a few weeks ago some young ladies getting ready to go to their car and they're like, "Hey, can someone walk us to our car cuz there's a guy here and he's kind of being kind of weird and we
Yeah.
don't want to be followed and we don't want something to
Yeah.
happen in the parking lot. Got you. I'm happy to more than happy to do it. Be my
Hmm.
honor. So, ladies out there, if you're watching or listening or wherever you are, and you just say, I don't want to bother somebody, they're happy to be bothered. Let them
Hmm.
get away from their cash register for a few minutes. They're happy to do it. Thank you for watching this clip of Gun Club Radio. This conversation that we had with Jocelyn Castillo is actually part of a longer interview that we had with her following her victory in this BJJ/grappling match that she did. Really awesome to see her win. And if you want to watch that full conversation, click right here.